to you about technology in my classroom. I am a third grade teacher. I teach 8 and 9-year-olds, and I use technology on a daily basis to engage them in their learning. But before I start, I have to talk to you about my motivation. This is my son, Henry. He turns 1 on March 26th. He is my pride and joy and my constant motivation. I was lucky enough to spend the first 6 months of his life at home with him on maternity leave. And as most new moms have had this experience, going back in September was very hard for me. So driving there on the way, definitely crying, trying to hold it together as I dropped him off at his daycare. I was asking all the questions, will he be okay today? Will she know what to do if he's tired or if he's hungry? The constant anxiety going through my head and questioning if he'd be okay. After I dropped him off and I got it together, I had a realization that I had 21 parents doing the same thing for me that day, dropping off their pride and joy to me, trusting that I would not only be compassionate and patient with them, but also teach them addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, how to be a good friend, how to work together, and all sorts of other things that every teacher does in their classroom. This group of boys is also a very special group for me. The 2 older boys on the top are 2 of my former students. And they helped me realize that I have to change the way I teach, especially to most of the boys in my classroom. They're very driven by video games and technology and computers, as well as most of the girls are. But they are much more engaged in the classroom setting when you bring something they enjoy into it. And so I use them as my model for helping to start and develop a new way of teaching, which began 4 years ago when I was given a Smartboard. Now, they didn't just give it to me because I took a class and I went to this class once or twice a month for an entire school year. And in exchange for taking this class and learning about technology, my district gave me a Smartboard in my classroom. So I was one of the first teachers in my district to actually get a Smartboard. And now my elementary school, I think we have 2 classrooms left that need one. So it's been a fun process seeing everyone get involved and start to use them. I use it on a daily basis, and I can't imagine teaching without it. Actually, I don't know if I could teach without it now that I think about it. I use it for math lessons. We have the everyday math program in our school district, and it helps to make it much more interactive for the kids. They can come up to the board, touch the board, move things around. It's interactive and it's engaging. I use it for reading and writing lessons. This may sound silly, but I use it for lunch count, and this helps me have the time in the morning to talk to parents, talk to the students, help them out while they take care of the classroom management going on. I also use it for morning routines. So this is Tori. She is making her lunch choice on the Smartboard. And this small piece of technology and use has allowed me to free up my whole morning schedule, and it makes them feel as they're part of the classroom because they're taking ownership in the teacher's jobs by doing lunch count. They're bringing everything down to the office. They count up their pictures. They take care of all of it for me. And this is Ben and Adam, and they're learning about the continents and oceans on the Smartboard. My most recent piece of technology, which I wish I had one for every kid in the classroom, is an iPad. And simply put, apps, and more apps. And music to a teacher's ears, free apps. Because it's just amazing the endless amounts of educational resources that you can find through the iPad and iPod touches. And it's a great classroom management strategy as well. I don't have to have the stickers or the stoplight anymore in the classroom. I can just simply say, oh, wow, you are working really hard. Go ahead and grab the iPad and have a couple free time minutes on it. And they are very driven by being able to use the iPad as a source of classroom management for me. This has been learning about the moon with a solar system app. Adam's learning about Neptune. I also use iPods in the classroom, and I use these more just during my language arts block. I use them for fluency. There's an iTalk feature that you can pop onto the bottom of the iPod, and my students can record themselves reading a book. So I'll give them a book. They'll have the iPod and the iTalk, record themselves reading a page or two, and then they have a rubric where they evaluate themselves and listen to their reading. So they can say, oh, wow, I'm not stopping at any of the periods, or I'm not using any expression when there's a question mark or exclamation point. And they actually hear their own voices when they're reading rather than just always hearing me model for them, which I do on a daily basis as well. And it's also a great listening center, and it's much more portable and compact for you teachers than the big boom boxes that we all are used to and have had in the classroom in the past. This is Alan, and he's using the iPod and the iTalk to record his reading. Through the second course I took in my district, I was granted 3 mini HP laptops within the classroom. And this has been great for just giving them more independent time to research and look for things and discover things on the internet. We also use a website called freerice.com for math facts. We use that on a daily basis. For every multiplication problem you answer correctly, you get 10 grains of rice, and the rice is donated to third world countries. So they think it's pretty cool to keep track of all the rice, how many boxes we donate in a year, and it's a really fun activity. But it takes over 44,000 grains per box, so that's a little frustrating for them to get to 1 box. We use it a lot for online resources. Research, we're researching animals right now, so they can just go on the computer, look things up. It was Dr. Seuss's birthday last week, and one of my students said, well, when did Dr. Seuss die? And I said, oh, let's look it up. And they went over there, typed it in, and found it out in seconds. This is Aaron and Oyanzaya, and they're learning about animals on the computer. I could probably talk for hours on the multiple websites out there, but I won't bore you, and I just chose to pick a few of my favorites. The first one is called Glogster, and it's the EDU version, so it's clean if you're a teacher worried about seeing inappropriate content on the internet. And Glogster is basically like creating a poster like you would with markers and crayons, but you can do it virtually. They can embed videos, they can take pictures and images off the internet, and they can put them into their own creative piece of artwork. We just did this with solar systems, so my students found different facts and information about a planet or something in the solar system, as well as with pictures and videos. I also use Blabberize. Blabberize is by far the most popular for the kids. This is a website where you can upload a picture. You work with the mouth on the picture, and then you record your voice. And when it's all said and done, you have a little talking image. So we took our animals, and one of my students took a tiger shark, and he starts out, hi, I'm Big Willie the tiger shark. And you see the little mouth moving, so they think it's great. I've also used Blabberize for reflection for my students at the end of the year for their parents. So I'll take a picture of them, and they'll talk to their parents. Hi, Mom and Dad, this year I learned about, and they think it's just great because they're not actually there. So. Wordle is another really great website that I have used quite a bit. It creates beautiful word clouds, and you just take different amounts of words, and you can emphasize them by typing them in more than once, and it makes the font size larger. You can play with the font colors, and this just allows them to really be creative. I've also taken pieces of their writing. We'll just copy and paste pieces of their writing and put it into Wordle. And they can really see which words they use over and over and over. So if they're using and, the, cool, neat all the time, they can see that word appearing. And maybe we need to have some different word choice in our writing. And this is, these are the kids working in the lab, and they're researching on their Glogsters. Now this is a picture of Inga and Adam blogging. And blogging started out for me as my tool. I was thinking, wow, I can use this as newsletters and resources for the parents, and I'll type these daily entries. This will be so much easier than printing off a piece of paper every week. Then I realized that if I don't include them in it somehow, it's not going to be engaging. So I said, I'm going to let them take over the blog. So they actually use this for communication for their parents, but they type the summaries and the entries every day. So part of my classroom jobs for the week, I have 2 bloggers. And every morning when they get to school, they get to grab a computer and start blogging about what we did in school the last day. So communication, parent newsletters, as well as the daily summaries. And they just love this. They love being able to make comments to each other. Their parents have loved it. I have had a lot of parents say to me, this is great. I was traveling on business, so I can go on the blog and see what you did in school today. Because whenever I call home, they just say, oh, I don't know, or I didn't do anything. So they get to actually see what we're doing in school. I use a wiki as a reflective tool and for my students to create e-portfolios. So we have a wiki that they'll just keep uploading all of their electronic work into throughout the school year. And at the end of the school year, I invite parents and grandparents and whoever would like to come on in, and we have a tech showcase. And they can go with their son or daughter to the computer lab and find their folder on the wiki and look at everything they've created this year. It's also really nice because the parents can save it on their home computer. I don't have to worry about burning them a CD or getting it to them somehow. They can just take it and go with it. Now, students that don't have a computer at home, I of course would do that for them, but it's still fun for them to be able to show mom and dad what they have done and how much technology they've been using. And I love pbworks.com just because at the 3rd grade level, the students aren't allowed to have email addresses. And this way, they can get around that because I can create student profiles and usernames and passwords for them. Now, Skype is something I've used the past couple of years, and the first time I actually used it, we were Skyping with my sister who was living in Madrid and tutoring 2 students. So we called them to learn about their culture as we study cultures in 3rd grade, compare and contrast food and all the different types of things that they do over there. And then the second year I did it actually as a poetry unit where we Skyped with a class in Reno, Nevada. So we wrote Reno, Nevada poems, which were pretty interesting. And then we also we Skyped with our superintendent who was just right across the parking lot in the other building. But we wrote poems about Oregon. And the kids just thought it was so neat to see Dr. Bustler and be able to talk with him through the computer even though he was a building away and then write their poetry about the information and the questions we asked him. And so this year, I actually Skyped with a student named Rachel. She's through the UW Classroom Connections program, and she was over in Prague. So we Skyped with her 2 or 3 times, and this was really great for the students, and I just want to show you a quick video here.
I am from Massachusetts originally, just north of Boston, but I go to school at Madison.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Matthew, come on up.
Why are you videotaping?
Okay, Matthew, right up to the webcam, nice and loud.
What did you film about?
So, what was your short film about that you created?
Oh, yeah. It was based on a joke that a guy played on a girl. He switched the rooms around, and he was just being funny. It was a comedy.
Oh, we have some comedians in our classroom this year.
Yeah?
We do, yes. So, and it's funny seeing them on Skype. He came up and he's so quiet and shy in the classroom. It's a completely different story. But when they get to that webcam, it takes a lot of practice. So we have to keep practicing talking loudly into the microphone, making eye contact, and as they practice it, they do get better. So she came to visit us, actually, when she returned in January, and she brought the kids a bunch of souvenirs from Prague, and she also brought them some chocolate from Germany, which they thought was pretty neat. And then just a picture of us together. So I'm guessing a lot of you are going, no way, there's no way 3rd graders can do this. But they can. They really can. And it doesn't just happen overnight. It happened through a lot of hard work and a lot of professional development, both on my part and my school district's part. And I have been teaching different courses on Smartboards and technology during the summertime, John Muir Academy at my school district. And I see a lot of my colleagues doing this too to make the learning experience so much better for the children. We are also very fortunate in Oregon that we have changed the way we have computer classes. We don't have computer teachers anymore where we go to them. Rather, they come to us. And we can reserve them through Google Calendar. And they're centrally located, so they can buzz around the district wherever they need to be. So if you know you're doing a lesson on Blabrise and you need an extra set of hands, or you're really not that sure, they'll come in and kind of mentor you and help you create that lesson so that the next time you can do it on your own. So I have to go back to my motivation, though, and I know I said Henry was my motivation, and he definitely is, but these smiling faces are also my motivation, and they get me there, and they make me excited about what I do, and seeing their growth and progress and how excited they are makes me realize and understand how important the technology is to have in their lives and to help them become better learners. And also to meet the diverse learning needs that I have in my classroom. So to end today, I just wanted to, I told them I was presenting here today, and they were very excited. And they said, you got to tell them about everything we're doing. I said, well, how about you help me come up with a list of why you love technology? So this is what they came up with. You can look stuff up on Google. It's fun to learn on. It has awesome games. And they said, Mrs. Leuhmann, awesome needs to be in all caps. It's more creative than a boring chalkboard. Kids like it. It's faster. We learn math facts on the computer. There's so much more. We can talk to people all over the world on Skype. It is interesting, and it gets us ready for our future. And that's truly what it does. Thank you.